My next guest is a magician and YouTube sensation.
Please welcome to the show, Justin Flom.
I will see you on tour, ladies and gentlemen, Justin Flom.
Everybody hold on to your watches and your rabbits, and please welcome magician Justin Flom. This is the most dangerous magic act I've ever seen in my life.
Now watch the cookie.
That's amazing. That's incredible. That's amazing.
Justin Flom.
Oh my God.
Please welcome to the show, Justin Flom. Use this.
That's the devil's work.
Shut up.
Ladies and gentlemen, Justin Flom.
All right, we are about to begin the show. Before we get too involved here, I hope you enjoyed the demo video there of Justin's. By far one of my favorite videos I've seen for a magic demo or promo, period. The energy levels there, the fun factors there, and it definitely shows you what he does. I want to follow up on the last interview Q&A that we did with the Dark Cabaret, where they were giving away a lecture note of theirs. And there were so many comments on that one. I wasn't about to go down and write them down this time and do the drawing out of the jar live for you. So what I've actually done is I just put everything in a random number name generator. And we came up with a winner by the name of Phil Hanlon. So Phil, I will make sure to shoot you a message and make sure that you get that sent out to you, or I get your contact info for that. But looks like we've already got some comments coming in here. So we got quite a few people super pumped for this. So looks like we've got Ethan, Christopher Beck, Scott Boudal, and Christopher. So without further ado, let me bring in our guest of honor today. That is Justin Flom. So here we go. Hey, what's up, Justin?
What is happening? How's it going, man? Can you hear me okay?
Oh, not a whole... Yeah, I can hear you. You're doing great. So sounds good.
Perfect.
All
Love
right.
it.
Awesome.
Excellent. I'm going to adjust the camera a little bit.
Good
to see you guys.
There. Yeah. Thanks for spending some time with me here.
Wonderful.
I had to go with some of the
questions.
purple.
I'm excited to hang out.
Color.
Yeah.
Awesome. So a couple things here. I have kind of a whole list of topics and discussion points and stuff, but the thing is loose and it's just fun anyway. So however you want to wing it, we can do that. But I see that you got a stage behind you. You're in Central Time Zone, is what you told me. So I'm guessing you're kind of home right now, right? In Minnesota?
Yeah, that's kind of a cool place to start because this is where I grew up. This stage is actually the very first stage I ever performed on. We would do local club meetings here in the basement. Here, let's go crazy, and I'll just show you. There's all sorts of soda machines, games. That's a modern art in the back there. Just immediately breaking that fourth wall and all the lighting setups I put in here, trying to look nice. But yeah, it's a pretty cool setup down here to grow up in because I started doing magic when I was like 2 years old, kind of just jumping in and out of magic boxes because my dad was a magician and my uncle was a magician. The whole family was magicians. So we would do a lot of stuff with the Fellowship of Christian Magicians, the FCM, or the local IBM. And when you've got a little miniature stage like this, it's a pretty cool way to have your local club meeting. And we'd have jugglers and fire eaters in the backyard. And I mean, it was at a time when magic clubs were at their peak, I think,
Yeah.
in the 90s. Just the best way to grow up. So yeah, I'm home right now, filming a couple videos and spending some time with the family, but I head back to Vegas tomorrow or the next day.
Oh, very cool, very cool. Now, I've seen, of course, a lot of your videos that you've posted, and there's one of them that it shows a clip of when you were younger performing with your brothers. Is that the same stage there in that video?
Yeah, that's the stage. That's the
That's
one.
awesome.
It's the stage. It was an old, gosh, it's based off of, I don't know who created this thing, but I've seen Martin Lewis do it with a cigar box where there's just one cigar box nested in the other, and then something's able to appear inside that cigar box. And I'm sure someone else has thought about blowing it up big, but my dad, he did that effect with they're called foot lockers, the trunks that you can get at Container Store at Walmart or something like that. This is the perfect size for like a 5-year-old kid. So
Yeah.
he would show the box empty, he'd nest it inside, and then I would pop out of that box, which is impressive because they're nested inside of each other. So, and then after that, the kicker to it was just taking my little brother, who was a toddler at the time, 1 or 2 years old, and just throwing him in the box, and then just tossing the box off stage like, all right, what's next? Pretty good bit.
That's awesome. That's cool. So apparently the magic bug just kind of stuck with you, huh? Does any other family still do or play with it a little bit?
No, they didn't have the passion for it that I did. There's something about it. I think so. I'm the oldest in my family, and I was really good at it. So I think they were like, "Look, I'm not going to mess with that. I'm going to let Justin do that." But we're all weirdos because we were all homeschooled. We were all kind of raised as entrepreneurs. So we've got a videographer, a photographer, and a personal trainer, each with their own business.
Yeah.
That's my siblings. So we didn't know how to like we didn't know how to be an employee. We didn't know how to like show up and shut up because
Sure.
that's just not the way we were raised as dreamers. And like we can do anything we want, not in a rebellious way, but in a way of like, hey man, whatever it is that you got to do, like just figure out a way and like do it. So it's a cool
Right.
thing.
Yeah, that's very cool. That's cool to hear that you were homeschooled because my wife and I are actually attempting that with our 6-year-old, and it's going great. And so it's definitely a lot of fun. So having some flexibility and just
The audio
explore.
dropped out there for a minute. So, but I'm gonna guess, were you homeschooled? Say that again, one more time.
I was not homeschooled. My
Oh, no,
wife
the audio
was.
went away. I can't hear.
I'm just kidding.
Let me see. I'm gonna take away the Bluetooth, and I'm gonna see if that does anything.
Okay, and definitely comment,
All right.
guys.
How about now?
I can hear you.
So here's what I'm going to do. Because I'm not getting audio. I'm going to come back in the link, but don't go anywhere because I got tricks and stuff, and we're gonna knock this.
All right, awesome. Comment. Let me know if you guys can still hear me because I want to know where the error is. So let's see here. Okay.
And we're back.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. I tested. Looks like our viewers here could also hear me too. So that's good. Quick solve, quick fix. I dig it. Technology is great and awful. So that's cool. Yeah. So what I was saying is, my wife was homeschooled, but my 6-year-old is homeschooled now. So we're going over that hurdle, and it's a lot of fun to see and kind of be able to teach him what you want and the ways that you want to do it. So
awesome.
And of course, he's doing home magic at home too, and I can't fool him anymore. So, but yeah. So you started out there in Minnesota doing a magic family, basically. When did you actually start doing shows? Like, obviously, you perform for your friends and family forever, but when was your first like actual show?
Boy, it's so hard to say because with growing up as a magician, I did competitions when I was a kid, and I did state fairs and churches. So I was 12 years old, and I was doing full-fledged 45-minute shows by myself. So it's a hard question, but I do remember, like, in high school, like, having a 3-ring binder where I'd take the gig and I would, like, okay, they want 45 minutes. I'm charging $300, like, all of that sort of stuff. And that
Right.
was like, this is a big deal.
Yeah.
And I was just driving, so I would print out my directions to the venue on MapQuest. Remember this? Yeah. So no phones, no cell phones or anything like that. Man, there's one gig I did here in Minnesota, and there was, like, it's 2 churches. Okay, one of the churches is like Woodlawn Church, and the other church is like Wooddale Church or something like that. Okay, but like,
Yeah.
or even it might have even been even more similar. By crazy chance, I'm 16. They both book me for the same day. And the reason I book them both is because I just thought I was talking to the same person. So,
Oh,
and then one of them, just by chance, I went to the address of one of them, did the show, completely unbeknownst to me, totally messed over the other show that I just never showed up. They left me a lot of messages. They were like, I don't know if you're coming today or not. Like, yeah. So I've gotten better since those times. But the real first shows were in Branson, Missouri. That's where I was about 18 years old. I moved down to Branson, Missouri. I did my own 2-hour show at various different theater spots. First at the Branson Mall Music Theater. That would be the theater next to the Walmart. And then next we did, I built a theater called the Imaginary Theater, where we lost all our money.
Yeah. That sounds right. That's about how it works when you try to do your own thing too soon. So
Yeah, it was a great education. It was an amazing failure, but what it taught me, so it cured me of ever wanting to have my own show on the Las Vegas Strip, and it really allowed me to be bad. So Lance Burton talks about finding your Hamburg, Germany, and what that was is the Beatles, before they were the Beatles, they were in Hamburg, Germany, working at a bar, and they were performing, 6 hours a night or something like they just crazy long sets where they're just killing themselves on stage, but they got all of the suck out. Like they got good. They became the Beatles. And that's what you need is I give that advice to young people, and they don't like it because
Right.
nobody wants to hear it. But they go, what do I got to do? And I go, well, you got to put in 10 years first. I'm
Right.
sorry. I really wish I haven't. I just haven't seen anyone do it in less than a decade. I haven't. Even
Yeah.
Justin Bieber, who seems like an overnight success, there's a decade built in there that you're not seeing. So,
Right.
yeah, just hit the ground, start pounding, because 10 years isn't that long. It's not that
No,
long.
it's not. One thing I tell a lot of people that ask me, because I have students and stuff, I tell them at least 2 years, nothing but kid shows, because kids will tear you up. They are brutally
Yeah, it's
honest
a real
and
thing.
call you out on everything.
Yeah, and a lot of people go, "Oh, kids think differently about magic than adults." I don't think so. I think kids just don't have a filter. I think
Right.
there's so many times, and social media has showed me this, so many times where the audience has the method, where we've been doing a trick for years, and we're like, the audience doesn't know how this works. This is a great trick. No,
Yeah.
they know how it works. They're very clear on it. They just don't feel comfortable telling us because it's obvious that our ego is hanging in the balance. So
Right.
a lot of people think people are mean to magicians. No, actually, people are too nice to magicians. It's the opposite. It's crazy.
Right. Yeah. That's a cool perspective to look at for sure. And that was cool that you'd mentioned that Lance Burton thing. So I'd honestly never heard that from Lance or anything. Lance
Yeah,
is like
for
one of
him,
my
he was
magicians.
in he went to, gosh, is it Pigeon Forge? I forget, but he and Matt King went to a theme park and did 3 shows or 4 shows a day. It might have even been 5 shows a day. They did shows every single day, every summer for like 5 years or something crazy like
Yeah.
that. And that's how Lance honed the Bird Act. That's how Matt King honed the show that we see today.
Yeah.
Very little in the show that Matt King does in Las Vegas today was not in the theme park show 30 years ago,
Yeah.
because there's 2 kinds of magicians in my mind, which is there's the crafters, the people who are just going to niche out every little ounce of this particular act, and then they're going to do it until they die. The Johnny Thompsons, the great Thompsonian act, even Lance Burton, because I've worked with Lance and I love him to death. But when he comes and does a special spot out in Las Vegas as a special appearance, the only thing new in his act is his opening line, which is "Hi, I used to be Lance Burton," which is it's a good line.
Yeah, he came to Des Moines, Iowa a few years ago for the Magic Convention there. That's when he released Billy Toppet, and so he did like a red carpet viewing there.
But I guess I didn't say the other kind of magician is the kind who's constantly doing new material. Copperfield almost would have, Copperfield counts as this because it was for 15 years at least, from 78 until 94. It was all brand new magic every year. Every single year it was a new special of brand new magic. And then I think after that many 1 hour specials, he went, all right, I'm going to coast for 20 years. Thank you very much.
Well, he earned it. I mean, even today,
that's what I'm saying. He earned it.
Amount of shows.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I follow him on social media and stuff, and it's fun just watching him do his laid back videos at home, which you never see. You can tell.
So actually, I've thought about it. Like, this quarantine has given some unique opportunities. So I'm busier now than I was before because I'm deciding to use the time to upload a lot of videos in a really new way of doing content that I haven't done before. And then I look at a guy like Copperfield and I go, this is the first time since 1979 that he hasn't done a show almost every day ever. Like this has got to be weird for him specifically. I mean, Penn and Teller take breaks, Lance Burton takes breaks, Chris Angel, David Blaine, all of us take breaks. David Copperfield's the only one who's never done that for longer than a week. So I'm really excited to be in Las Vegas because I want to go to the first show back after quarantine. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity to see David Copperfield after 3 months off or potentially more. Like that's, I don't know. That's a little inside baseball because if you've seen David's show, you know that David has kind of gotten into the habit of the robotic show.
Yeah.
Right. Which is, he built a show that way. He built the show so that it does that. He's like, how can I perfect this? Did I lose you for a second?
Just for a second, but not
make sure
long.
I get you back. There you are. Did I lose you for a second?
I can hear you great. No, okay. I think you caught up with me. Great. Okay, I think
so.
You freeze frame.
So give me a wave if you're hearing my audio. Otherwise, I'll hop out and hop back in because
I can hear you.
Anything.
I can hear you great.
We'll do that.
Okay, he will be right back. But this is great hearing these stories, and I'm excited the road that we're taking on this because it's going kind of right down the list here. Some of the things that I wanted. So let's bring him back in.
Yo.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
Hey, I got the patience
so yeah,
for this. You don't have to worry about me.
All right, cool. Yeah, I could hear you the whole time. It's just your screen had froze to where your finger was like this.
Oh, good. Yeah, touch the screen sort of magic stuff. Well, hey, let's should we do a magic trick?
Yeah, let's do a magic trick.
So this is something I'm excited about because I'll plug a buddy because I love the trick, and I'd imagine magicians, not muggles, are watching this thing, so it'll be good to do. And I created a twist on my buddy's magic trick in quarantine. So this was the first couple days of quarantine. I got to play with this, and I love it. So I've got a little red squishy ball, and I'm going to do the color changing squishy ball trick. You just push it in, you pull it out. It's the color changing squishy ball. Now, of course, in order to do that trick, you do need 2 different colored squishy balls. So I'm going to show you exactly how I did this trick because it's actually pretty easy. So very first thing is these 2 balls right here. These 2 balls get hidden in this fist. And the audience doesn't know about that. When I come out on stage, I just got to keep, first, you say we're going to do the color changing squishy ball. And you just got to keep this fist closed. Okay. Don't let them see that extra ball. You do have to keep it closed. Then when you walk out on stage, you can push that ball through your fist, and then you pull out the other ball, and it looks like the balls change colors. Now, of course, you never want to let the audience see the other color ball. If they do that, then you have to get rid of this, and you have to start the whole trick over. And you have to actually change the color of the ball. It's when you do that that the audience goes, hey, this guy's pretty good. But don't forget, you do need that extra ball. Okay. So again, oh, sorry, it's not supposed to be green. It's supposed to be red. Yeah, it's supposed to be a red color changing ball. And that's the trick that I love. Cool trick,
That's
right?
awesome.
So
That's very cool.
I'm not going to go into the prop or the gimmicks used for it. Instead, I'll just say Bizarro. He's an color changing sponge ball. So he invented, and if you watch the DVD, there's a wonderful story. He invented it in the shower, as sometimes happens. And he figured out a way to make a color changing sponge ball. I will show you this. So it's a great trick because it really does look like that can change colors, and you can do very clean sort of changes like this,
yes.
or you can do more visual changes like that, and you can do some nice juggling moves with it, tossing it around in the air and all that when you're not with a little camera. So it's great for stage. So Rick Lax created a routine with color changing sponge balls that's on the DVD, but it has an amazing ending, which is the surprise color at the end.
Yeah.
But in order to get to that ending, you have to do a lot of bad magic. Now that's Ricky's style, because he wanted people to be caught off guard at the end and go, oh wow, this guy was actually good. I don't like doing that. I don't like being bad for 3 minutes in order to be good at the end. In professional shows, happy to do it on social media, because it doesn't really matter. So I took the routine, and basically what he figured out is so my routine I call color changing sponge ball Inception, because he had just one regular color ball at the end. And that's fine. But I have the extra color ball, and then that changes colors, and then there's a heart at the end, and it doesn't play as spectacular because we're here in the camera and you're like, maybe he's dipping out, but everything happens in just these fists with nothing coming and leaving. And by the end, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They've seen 7 balls. That's mind-boggling. So I talked about it at the very beginning of quarantine in another little magic lecture somewhere on the interwebs. I don't even remember what it was, but Biz said, throw me a video explaining it so I can let my clients or users or buyers, whatever we call magicians, so I can show them the trick. So if you go by Bizarro, and that's 2 Z's, not 2 R's, Bizzaro, his color change sponge ball is great, and or buy it from your shop, and you will learn some really great stuff. But I'm really excited to get back on stage and do that for kids, because I think that'll be I think Sucker Egg will move out of the show, and this will go in, because I've been doing Sucker Egg. This was so depressing. Right before quarantine started, I was doing a show. Somebody came up and they said, look, this is you doing our son's birthday party. And their son was like, 30. And I'm like, yeah, that is me. And I went, oh, no, I'm doing material that I'm about to do in this show. Like, that's how long I've been doing it. And I was like, I'm okay. It's out of the show. I cannot allow myself to do a trick that long. So anyway, I'll let you ask a question again before I do anything else over here.
Perfect. One thing I like about that, it's kind of a toss. It's really an updated up version of almost the color changing silk deal.
That is one of my favorite tricks, and I always do it. Basically what I did is I took Ricky's methods, and I put them in the format of the classic color changing hanky or half dyed hank or whatever. So I was like, all right, Ricky's got a good idea with these. I'm going to put Billy McComb in here, And then I'm going to see how many, if you know the secret to color changing sponge balls,
Yeah.
I'm going to see how many I can fit in this thing. Can I fit 3? Can I fit a color changing sponge ball inside of a color changing sponge ball inside of a color changing sponge ball? Holy cow. Because now there's 1, 2, 3 times 2 colors. So that's 6 different colors or whatever. It's a whole thing. So
yeah, it was definitely the beginning principle where it's just a couple phases, same thing as the silk, the hanky, whatever. That's what I thought you were doing.
Then it starts to be a mind twist. Yeah,
it
really
just kept giving. It kept giving,
Yeah.
and it was great.
That's what's cool.
And so that was really, really cool.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, no, it's always great to see kind of what people are working on, especially in this time. I mean, you have all the time in the world, which is great.
The main thing we've been doing has been, so I've been uploading a video every single day since shutdown began for me where I was. So I'm at, I think, 10 weeks almost. I for sure 8 weeks of a video every single day. That's quite something. So I counted, and it's 78 videos. 78 videos. That's more than one every day. And then 40 of those videos use like a traditional magic prop that I got at a magic store, something that uses a magic prop. But so that's half of them. And the other half are all kind of magic adjacent. I've gone through all of our magician riddles, betchas, bar bets, challenges, puzzles, and just had a lot of fun. And all these are living on Facebook.
Yeah.
And basically I was just going through the L&L library of mine and going, all right, let's find some stuff, because what's so amazing about Facebook and just online video is how you can find a professional use. You know, if you're doing Facebook videos professionally, as I am, suddenly you can find a professional use for pushing a quarter through a dime-sized hole in a piece of paper. Like, we learned that when we were 12. We're like, that's fun. That's a fun puzzle. You put it there and then you bend the paper that way and the quarter falls out.
Yeah.
But you never would do that table hopping. You would never do that anywhere.
Yeah.
You think, because you learned it in Mark Wilson or something like that. But I've found now the stuff that is the most successful for me is the most obscure betcha sort of stuff. It's not necessarily betcha, just the most simple. Here's one I've been doing a lot of recently, speaking of Alan. So let me see, I'll use this one. So cocktail napkin. This is this weird origami thing that I've been watching these, 5-minute crafts and stuff on Facebook. I get addicted and I see them folding up this stuff and I just love it. So this is just the coolest sort of thing. If you watch, maybe if you're bored of those regular napkin folds you do when you have guests over at your house, you can try this one. So we start out with just a little cone.
Yeah.
Wasn't planning on wearing blue and blue and blue, but we'll go with it. And then we just do one fold. I'm going to make one tear. Okay. I'm going to try and keep my hands in frame for all of this.
Okay.
Just make one tear like this. Yeah. And if we do this now, people, so I've been doing magic, my whole life. And the thing is, the reason I got into it is I found that I had one particular skill that I was better at than most kids, which was lying. But really what it was is I was more skilled at sleight of hand and the learning, that sort of stuff, than the rest of my family was, because, as I said, I grew up in a magic family. Now we're going to watch this piece in a second because it's going to be very important. I'm going to let's see, I'll put it here. I'll just hold on to it. The thing is, when I was a kid, my dad always told me, he said, you should shoot for the moon. Shoot for the moon, because that way the world doesn't need more dreamers, or the world doesn't mean more architects or anything like that. Shoot for the moon because the world needs dreamers. Shoot for the moon because then even if you miss, you will be among the stars.
Very cool.
And there you have a little nice star out of that moon. Thank you. Hold your applause. So what's fun about that is when I talk to people like yourself and magicians watching, I always like to point them at material, because that's my favorite thing when I watch a magician, is when they point me towards material, because material. We still back? We good? Can you hear
We're
me?
good. We're good.
Cool. Is there a
Yeah.
leg now?
Nope. Nope. No lag.
Was there a leg before? Oh, we're good.
No, we're good. That played through all the way beginning to end. Great.
Awesome, awesome. So basically, that is Starkle by Dan Harlan. So Dan Harlan, I think, man, I've been going through most of Dan Harlan's releases during this quarantine, and I think he's a beast that we completely underestimate. At least I did. Maybe he's
Yeah.
not underestimated, but his old stuff on L&L is just gold. What's so much fun about that trick, and I apologize to the magicians watching that I'm not explaining these things. I just don't feel I have the right, because even though I created the routine, that's Bizarro's gimmick, and even though I, shoot for the moon is, just a fun play on words with that. Starkle, very cheap. You can get it on lnl.com. You can get it at your magic shop probably. There's different places, but it's great. So do that. I think it's in one of his impromptu magic DVDs, which is probably on the shelf at a magic shop. We'll see.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, that's kind of the stuff that I've been working on and doing, and stuff like that. Are there questions from the viewers that I can answer?
Let's see here. Going all the way back, starting off, there's a lot of people excited that you're here.
Oh,
So
cool,
that's
man.
cool. People looking forward to this. People complimenting your videos, saying they love watching them.
Thanks.
confirming
So we've
videos.
done some cool videos during quarantine. Now these videos during quarantine, these are very silly. These are built for social media in a way where they are not professional. It's a fascinating thing, because you would imagine that on social media you want to put your best foot forward and have a great logo and stuff like that. And actually, that's not what performs great on social media if you kind of watch what's trending. But at the end of 2019, I released maybe what I'm most proud of, this really artistic project called Magic Mixtape, which was a lot of cool music and stuff, some of it that I wrote, with really cool edits and scenes, kind of vignettes of all these different magic tricks that I just loved, a couple original twists on magic tricks and things like that. But so that's, and that's 20 minutes of new magic done, not new, it's from wonderful creators who are not me, but new in that it's not a compilation of old stuff of mine. It was all brand new for me in 2019. And then this year I've just kind of hit the ground running with every video I can imagine.
This one here, this is one of my favorite videos, and I got to see this live, so that is a great routine there.
Yeah, Card Hit Wonder. That is my story. I could use
Lost you. But yeah, keep the questions coming. Card Hit Wonder is a great routine. It's pretty awesome to see. See here, we'll get Justin back on here. But yeah, keep your questions coming. Check out Justin's videos too, because he has a lot of really good ones. A lot of them definitely went viral. Like, I can't even count the number of views that he's hit on a lot of them. And here at the end, I'm going to be giving 2 things away of Justin. So definitely stay tuned and hang in there. But same as always, we'll give it away at the end of the week. So next Wednesday, we'll be giving away 2 things of Justin's, and I'll announce those here in just a little while as soon as he comes back on. So here he is now. And let's bring him back.
You are very patient. I appreciate it, and I'm sorry for everybody else. This is there's a lot of people in this house. I'd imagine somebody's torrenting upstairs. So this is on me. This is on me.
No. It's perfect. So we left off at the card hit wonder, and then I lost you.
Yeah, it's almost 12 years since I created that, and it's an original effect to me. It's probably what I'm most proud of. That and this thread from arm thing I created with Ryan and Amberlyn, Ryan Stock and Amberlyn. Those two effects are my favorite things that I get to do live everywhere, and
Yeah.
they're very special to me.
Now, card hit wonder is really cool because the audience, obviously, they're pairing what they see to what they hear. But I
Yes.
think it's the music that makes it so familiar for everybody that it's like I've seen it live, and it's like being at a concert. Like people are
Yeah.
just freaking out.
There's an artist. This is just in the weeds kind of side note. There's an artist named Girl Talk. Okay, it was a guy DJ, but just a name. His name was Girl Talk. That was what he went by. And what he did is he only did mashups. So he would take the beat from this Jay-Z song with the lyrics from this Queen song, and then he would take the guitar riff from like Michael Jackson and do this crazy mashup. So I saw him live in Las Vegas, and every 3 seconds you were getting a hit of dopamine because he was hitting you with some amazing classic riff. And that's kind of, it didn't inspire it because I was already doing it by that point, but it definitely like pushed it in that direction. Like, keep
Yeah.
going familiar. This isn't about impressive. So like Steve Miller band The Joker used to
Right.
be in Card Hit Wonder, and then it aged out. Like the audience just wasn't, they didn't get that song as quickly as they get Rihanna, so
Right.
it had to go. And
Yeah.
that was kind of so I've had some people be like, hey, I'm going to do Card It Wonder, but I'm going to do different songs, and I'm like, that's not exactly how to take, you can't do that, because I change Card Hit Wonder music every 3 months, which is really
Yeah.
amazing. It's really hard because obviously it's in a, I'm
Yeah.
doing some work there,
Yeah.
and to insert new ways of doing it is quite challenging. But when Khalid comes out with a new song called 18, I'm like, well, I got to use that.
Right. Yeah. And there's places in there that are already established where you can easily flip that out, which is
Yes.
nice. Yeah.
Yes, you're like, all right, let's take out Taylor Swift and let's put in this, or whatever. Yeah, we did lose a Taylor Swift song this year. She was irritating me.
Yeah, that's right. Tay does that. So this is from a local, one of my students here. Where to go? He wants to know, what is your favorite card trick? This is on his mother's
It's a
account.
good question.
His name is Ethan.
So I love I love Juan Tamariz, and I love Pneumonica. So Pneumonica is just spectacular. So if I'm just out and I've got a deck of cards on me, I do some version of pneumonicosis, or cut these cards behind your back, put one in your back pocket. I do
Sure.
that all the time. It was really fun for me to see David Blaine's latest special because it was pretty much an homage to Juan Tamariz, as the whole special was all stack.
Yeah.
It was very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I've been doing a lot of stuff here where I've been doing a Jay Sankey version of Invisible Deck, which I really like, where I have a prediction in this box. You're going to love this. And this is Jay Sankey's thing, so I'm going to throw that credit out there, but there's nothing to teach here. You're going to have it immediately because you understand. But
Sure.
you can name any card.
Okay. We'll go 7 of diamonds.
Positive, because you can change.
I'm happy with it.
You're sure?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, because you can change. Obviously, it doesn't matter. So 7 of diamonds. In this deck, I put one card backwards among all the rest, but also I wanted to mark it because I knew not only would I put it in backwards, but I wanted to mark it with a giant X because I knew that there's only one card that you are going to name, and you wouldn't change your mind no matter what. So there it is, of course, backwards in the deck. None of these other cards have marks on them. None of these other cards are backwards. But the one card that is backwards has a mark right through it, 7 of diamonds.
Very good.
That, right. And of course, quite obvious if you were to name, well, I won't even go into it because Jay Sankey's got a thing on it. I believe it's in his secret files DVDs. Just buy them from the shop
Yeah.
because it's spectacular. But it's a wonderful idea of Jay Sankey's, and you can piece together using your prop that you probably have at home that's just like mine, and you can
Yeah.
do exactly what I just did. And it's great
Jay's
because
got
you named an odd card. I mean, the other option is naming an even card, and I go, that's beautiful because I X'd out every single card in a deck of cards except for one, which
right.
is the alternative. It's a fun way
Right.
of doing that.
Yeah. Jay's got some pretty amazing stuff, but early Jay Sankey is
Right.
amazing.
Yeah, I think Ricky Lax has kind of replaced Jay in the number of releases in that period of time. Now Rick's not releasing anything now, but there was a period of Penguin that was 100% Jay Sankey, and then there was a period of Penguin that was almost all Rick Lax, and so I think the breadth, the width of Rick Lax releases is pretty cool, and I was lucky enough to be involved in quite a lot of that. So.
Yeah. One thing I did want to point out, this card carousel thing I made hanging above the ceiling, I actually put all that in New Monica order. Just for fun. Yeah, so just
you're
kind
the
of
only guy who's going to know, right?
Right, it's an Easter egg when people come in. So
That's nice.
Same thing, I got a mannequin here in a suit, and he's holding 4 cards. It's Sam the Bellhop. He's holding a 654 club.
That's fun. That's very fun.
So a lot of fun Easter eggs throughout the shop here. So to get into the whole social media thing, obviously it didn't happen overnight. If I remember right, seeing from your videos, your big break was Ellen. Is that correct?
Yeah, Ellen discovered Soldier's Deck of Cards. So Soldier's Deck was my very first viral video, where it really did go to 3 million people on YouTube. This is almost 10 years ago, where that was a really big number. It's not a big number anymore, so it's silly to even say. But one of her producers found the video. Ellen then saw my Magic Block Party. So that video led them to my content, and I had been on purpose strategically curating content for television that year. This is 2012, and so it was 2011 that I was curating all the content. 2012, got the call from Ellen, and I got to do her show. She asked me, "Is this a camera trick?" And I said, "Nope." And she goes, "Great, do it on our show." So that's a pretty cool appearance. And at that point, only a couple magicians had been on Ellen. I think Sean Farquhar, Justin Willman, James Galea, and that was about it. Like there was it was really new. So that was cool. And then she had me come back where I messed a trick up on her show. It's great. It's still on YouTube. You can go see it. So she called me. It's like a Friday. She's like, "Can you do Tuesday?" So I had just the weekend to prepare. And I was like, "Yes, let's do it." And her producer said, "Great. She doesn't like anything that you've sent in so far. So you've got to do new stuff." And it's like, cool. So I sat down with kind of my brain trust out in Las Vegas, and we came up with a twist on an old YouTube myth, which was stack cell phones in a circle around popcorn, and the cellular signal will pop that popcorn. It was an old fake video from a while ago, and we were going to do that. But instead of popping the popcorn, we were going to shatter a wine glass, and it was going to scare her, and she loves scaring people. It was going to be a blast. So that's the bit. And it's called, I think, Boulevard 54 is the trick specifically that I bought. I'm not talking smack about the trick, although the trick didn't work when I needed it to. So I'm on the show, and I explain everything that's going to happen. What's the problem with this is I've already given a red herring where I've told her we're going to pop popcorn and then the glass is going to shatter. Neither of those things happened. Instead, the gimmick sent the wine glass flying into the air, and it landed about 6 feet to her right, and just shattered on the floor. That's a different trick, weird trick, not expected. But because hitting the wine glass to fly through the air and land on the floor was so loud and startling, the woman next to Ellen, one of her interns or something like that, just slipped and fell on her butt, and so that was got a reaction from the audience. The camera went over there. The camera completely missed whatever was happening over here, and it cuts back to Ellen, who's just confused, and she goes, "This is the most dangerous magic act I've ever seen." And that's the end of the show. She goes, "Okay, bye." Like, that's it. That was the end. There was nothing else. Yeah, I don't know what she thought. And coincidentally, I haven't been on the show again, but I'm sure that's not the reason. I don't know.
That's great, because the audio clip of her saying the most most dangerous
I use unabashedly. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, good,
That's like your own
good
haunting reminder.
Yeah, I just laugh about it. Yeah, the audience doesn't know what she's referring to. I could be referring to, like me putting real audience members in danger in a bad way. This is the most dangerous magic I've ever seen in my life. So, yeah.
Let's have that guy back.
Yeah, but that was the way I started, and then from that moment on, I really did dedicate a lot of time to YouTube, which is since now moved on from YouTube and become Facebook, and I just find that's where people are seeing content, and that's where people are viewing the stuff. So that's where I want to put the magic. I want to share magic with as many people as possible, and that's where you got to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So now, when you upload your videos, are you strictly just going Facebook, or are you still hitting all of your social media channels?
So if I'm going to give advice to somebody, what I say is you want to create specific to that platform, meaning you create TikToks for TikTok, you create YouTube videos for YouTube, you create Facebook videos for Facebook, and you just read Twitter to lose faith in humanity. And what you do, because it's all a different vibe. Now, sometimes I can craft content for Facebook and then salvage some pieces of it and put it on TikTok. But for the most part, I'm doing different takes for different mediums. So Magic Mixtape is a much better YouTube video than it is Facebook video, because it's 20 minutes. Right. It's artistic. It's pretentious. It thinks I'm cooler than anybody else. Like, it's all the things that YouTube is.
Sure.
On Facebook, I have to be a dad. So on Facebook, I'm going to saw my baby in half, and I'm going to wear a baseball hat. And as I'm sawing my baby in half, we didn't shoot it with my nice camera. We shot it with a less good camera, a cheaper camera, because we wanted it to look like just a guy. Fun dad does a fun trick. Yeah. And Willman's biggest viral hit is interesting. Justin Willman, because his was found footage of his wedding where he did a cool suspension in his wedding dance. But he also had a viral video that was really professionally shot. And the professional shot one was a version of Drunk History, a take on his old on a TV show on Comedy Central. And that also went viral. So he was straddling two lines there. He was giving the YouTube audience professional style filmmaking, whatever, but he was giving the found footage on the other thing, which is a good strategy to do.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm creating specific for that platform, and I'm looking at what else is happening on the platform to dictate what I'm doing. So very rarely do I go, I just want to do this. I more often am seeing, all right, what do people want to see? And right now, people want to see vertical video. They want to. There's different. It's very strange. So yeah, I try to keep my finger on that pulse.
The vertical video took me a little while to get used to, because I'm used to that.
I hate
wide
it, right?
angle.
You hate it.
Yeah.
Of course you hate it.
Right.
But then again, here I am, and I'm trying to do color changing handkerchief, and I'm going, oh, okay, hang on, I got to back up because I got to go back here so you can see everything.
Right.
But yeah, it is what it is. There's strengths and weaknesses to everything, and you just gotta move with it. I'm trying to be at the front, accepting, because I was wrong in 1997 about David Blaine. Blaine came out, and I was like, this is stupid. He's using stupid. He's doing an invisible deck and a folding quarter. I have
Yeah.
those tricks. And I was wrong. I was way wrong. Like
Yeah.
most of us were. Most of us were wrong. I don't know many people who got the David Blaine thing immediately. Most of us were like, still gun ho on World's Greatest Magic, which was only the year before.
Yeah.
So that's a stark difference. So
Yeah.
imagine being all in for like David Blaine, and then all of a sudden you see Rick Lax do these Facebook videos of interactive magic. Yeah, you might be a little miffed. You're like, this is stupid. This is not interesting. And the reaction I'm seeing to Rick's Facebook videos is the same reaction that I've been in magic long enough to remember when people hated Copperfield, and then they hated Blaine, and then they hated Angel, and then they hate whoever it is now. And, and then my dad is old enough to remember when they hated Henning, because they're like, well, this guy's no Blackstone.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think the most recent one would probably be Jabrizi for his own reasons, but
right. So and Jabrizi. So there's definitely an argument. So I've been out with Jabrizi, and he gets recognized.
Yeah.
Ryan Stock and Amber Lynn, they also get recognized. Rick Lax and I, we get recognized sometimes, but we don't as much because we're just white guys. Like we're not that interesting. We're just 6 foot white guys.
Right.
It's not interesting. At least Ryan and Amber Lynn, they've got beards and plugs in their ears and purple hair. So like, it's those two. And Jabrizi looks like Jabrizi. But you can say all you want about the magic, and man, I've had so many just hours long discussions with friends and with Jabrizi about this, and because my tastes don't dictate who my friends are, because if they did, I wouldn't have any friends. My goodness. So there's plenty of material that my best friends do that I just hate. But I always want to watch that material and go, all right, so something's happening here, because there's however many million people watching it. Just what is it? What is it that's happening here? And is there anything for me to look at and learn from this?
Right.
And I mean, that's a really hard thing to do, because it might be so egregiously against what you believe magic is. But if anything, if this quarantine has taught me anything, none of this is precious. It's not precious. It's not, don't hold it tight. I imagine when the Beatles were recording music, I'm just guessing, I don't know. I have read many biographies on them, and it seems like they were just pumping out tracks. They just write it, record it in a day, forget about it. Especially towards the end when they weren't singing any of this stuff live. Like they didn't write this stuff. So they didn't write the stuff to perform live. So what I mean by that is the Beatles were just pumping out material without thinking about it, and they didn't treat it as precious. So often I see magicians and they craft these pieces of material, and I'm guilty of it myself. I've mentioned 2 pieces that I treat like children to me. But I have found more fulfillment in the last 8 weeks by just putting work into a thing and then letting it go, and then putting work into the next thing and then letting it go. So the reason I brought it up earlier, the pushing a quarter through a dime-sized hole, today I came up with a different take on that trick. And I'm really excited about it, because instead of using a piece of paper, I'm using a dollar bill. I'm having them cut up their dollar bill. There's a piece of the dollar bill, and they're comparing it to the quarter. Suddenly now there's more of a routine within this thing. And but it's not precious. I just do it, film it, put it up, get it out there in the ether, and then the world will tell me if it's any good. I don't think the Beatles knew they made Sgt. Pepper. I think the world said, hey, this is the greatest album of all time. And Beatles are like, all right, we're still
cool. You like it, right? Yeah. Yeah, there's so many things that I do that you just never know how it's going to play or how people are going to react to it. And I mean, that goes back to kind of like, to go back further on to things that places to perform in your outlets and stuff, and performing for those proper social media outlets. The thing I was going to bring up with Jabrizi is he had his down to a niche. Like he knew his audience and how to perform for them, and his message didn't matter. I mean, he became viral because he knew who his audience was.
Yeah, I think what was frustrating for the people who work with Jabrizi closely, Rick Lax included, and some others, is that magicians who were trashing him seem to forget about the word exposure. Okay, so if David Copperfield were to post a picture of him flying with holding the girl, or if he was to post a video of it or something like that, and then Chris Ramsey was to post and go, "That girl works for you. She's not flying. She's in on it."
Right.
Okay, yeah, we're very clear. Yeah, I know she's in on it. That's kind of part of the trick. Stooges are a method that we use in magic. So
Yeah.
I would kindly remind you, we don't expose other magicians' magic tricks.
Yeah.
And yet, it was very popular to get on Jabrizi's case. And I've told Jabrizi to his face, and I'm going to see him this week. I've told him to his face, I'm like, your magic's not my favorite. Like, this is not my style. But I respect it because I think that there's a viewing public that really does enjoy it. And I'm talking from the experience of seeing people meet him and really love it. It's, to me, I can't do it. I was out with him, and we're on the strip in Las Vegas. He's going to do magic for somebody, and he just stops a girl. He goes, "I'm gonna get you pregnant," and I'm like, "Okay, I'm out here. I can't." But that's what he was doing. So now, I forget what I was saying. Okay, where my train of thought went elsewhere with the word pregnant. It was, I lost it. I had an important thing to say, and it's gone. I didn't, preferable. What was I saying? Not even close. Is it there? Because it's such a deep subject. Oh, the exposure thing.
Yeah.
We had the same magician I mentioned earlier. He obviously wouldn't post that on Copperfield, but he did post that about Jabrizi. So just because we don't like his style of magic, or we think that he's too braggadocious, which he probably is, but we let certain people be braggadocious. Chris Angel, very braggadocious. So we allow it with certain individuals. You don't have to like it, but that doesn't mean we expose their methods. So that was a surprising thing I saw in the community. And yeah, to me, that's a big time exposure thing. But then again, like Penn and Teller have exposed more magic than Valentino, and for some reason they're beloved. So I don't. It's a very interesting dichotomy that we have in the magic community, and I think it's because we don't have a real set list of rules. We don't have the same sort of laws that stand-up comedy have, because things are kind of loose. I am performing material that's written by Jay Sankey because I've paid him. You don't have that in other industries. So I'm sure I've gotten pretty far off the weeds, but that's because this has been a long discussion with many people for a couple of years now about that social media side of thing, because I do believe the old guard do not like what they see on the social media side. It's an interesting thing.
Yeah, I actually learned quite a bit from watching Jabrizi's videos, because of course, I did the standard, like, look at me, I'm doing a trick, this is what it is, got comments, got shares, got likes. And then I did a video just to test it out where the viewing audience didn't see anything of what I did. They just seen everybody's reaction. Now, it wasn't a stooge or anything like that, but I just strictly said, boom, here's their reactions, enjoy it. And that got so much more social media interaction than anything else I've done.
And that's kind of more akin to David Blaine understanding this is about the human element. And I'm always studying. So I study analytics like a stockbroker. I mean, I'm looking, when am I losing people? When are people tuning out? When are people swiping to the next video? Because all that information is available for you on YouTube or on Facebook or on whatever you're using. You have analytics. And even if you don't look at the analytics, even if you just look, this video got more likes than this video, you have to look at what that is. And so that's why I don't have to like Jabrizi's magic. Although it's fishy when some of these individuals like Julius Dean, but they don't like Jabrizi. I'd tell those people to tread carefully because they're basically the same guy. There's really only one glaring difference between Julius and Jabrizi, and you don't want to be seen disliking Jabrizi for that one reason. We have a special word for those people, and I'm not calling those people that thing, but it just is a weird. It's a weird coincidence that they like Julius, but they don't like Jabrizi. So don't do that. I don't like either.
Fair enough. But you're still friends with him, so I mean that's what it comes down.
I'm of course joking. I'm friends with both Julius and Jabrizi, and both of them have done things that I'm very impressed with. Jabrizi recently did a hydrostatic glass with a fish inside the glass, and I was like, "That's a good idea. That's a good idea," and I didn't think of it. Just hydrostatic glass with a fish inside. I like that. I hadn't seen it before. It might not be his. I don't know. I'm not saying it's his. I just saw him do it, and I was like, "That's good. That's smart." Whether you got to the idea on your own or you found it, that's a good idea. And Julius kind of figured out putting the spectator next to you in a way that that hadn't been done. Even David Blaine hadn't done it to the degree that Julius did. And then it played out a little bit in social media, and it's not performing as well as it used to. But it's a good step in social media magic. There's no way this is interesting to anybody but you and me, right? Nobody's like. There's no way because this is so in the weeds. We've got a few
people watching. We've got a couple comments and stuff. So I mean, it's good. I mean, people are hanging in there. Plus, I know a lot of my fans are Midwestern, so they're fans of you. So they're here for you. So
that's good. That's good. I can tell when I'm passionate because the lights here, they change when there's noise. So I've noticed my voice, and the lights are changing. So if the lights change, it means I've gotten passionate about a subject.
That's great. All right, that's your cue.
Let's see if there's a last question from the group watching or from you or you. I'll let you wrap it up.
Okay, perfect. So I guess the one question here we have from a viewer, it's a rather lengthy one. There's like 8 questions.
That's fine. Hit me with it. No, I love lengthy.
I'm going to wrap it up. Like, what does your day look like when you're not performing? Like, how do you wrap yourself around being a father, being a husband, and when do you have time to create all this content and still do your shows?
What a good question. Well, right now we're not doing shows, so the content is a lot easier.
But social media is the equivalent right now.
Yeah, today we filmed a science experiment in the backyard. I filmed a betcha, a bar bet that I put a twist on. I filmed that for my wife along with a padlock trick. So I filmed 3 things today. But those are things, 2 of them I'd already filmed before and they failed. Like I watched them, maybe I tested them out for a couple people and I was like, nope, this isn't, we got to come at it from a different angle. So the first answer is I film currently every day. But even when I wasn't filming every day, there was always some new thing being worked on because I really do think, man, I love creating and I haven't gotten to the bottom of the well yet. There's just so much magic. I mean, we got 500 years worth, or if you have some magicians, 2,000, but it seems to be about 500 years of published works. And I thought this quarantine, I was going to get to go through all of these great magic books that I've had on my shelf. I haven't had a second. I haven't had a single second because after you're done filming, then you've got family.
Right.
And beyond family, then you got to watch The Last Dance and see some of this Michael Jordan stuff. It's amazing. So what do you do with the rest of your time? You don't have time to pee, as my dad would say when I was growing up. So my day is I've got a board, depending on where I'm at. If I'm on the road, I have a piece of paper in my pocket, and I took it out for the show. I don't think I have it. I have a piece of paper, and it's got my priority list of what I'm working on. Just one piece of paper. So when I'm in Walmart, I can open it up and I can look and I'd be like, I should pick up baking soda because that's the thing that needs that. Got it. Or I should pick up glass because if I get an 8x10 piece of glass from a frame, then I can do that thing with that from that book or whatever it is. So
Gotcha.
I have that. I've been very bad at it during quarantine. When quarantine started, I was spectacular. I had 1 year in the books. Jerry Seinfeld's method. This is gold right here. This changed my life. His method is called "Don't Break the Chain." So what that is for me, it kind of works like sobriety. I quit drinking 11 years ago. 11 years ago last month. It's very easy for me to not drink because I've got 11 years built up. Why would I throw away 11 years for one drink? That's kind of the way Jerry Seinfeld writes his material. Is you write a day and then you put an X through that calendar day, mentally or for real. Then you write the next day, just a page on a legal pad, nothing hard. I myself, I don't write comedy. I write premises, methods, or hooks. Meaning a premise is, what if the government was secretly training magicians? It's a premise. A hook would be, I have the ability to predict when somebody will sneeze. It's a hook. It's also kind of a premise. It's different. And then methods are, oh wow, what if I used Starkle, the napkin thing, but with wrapping paper? That's a method. And you're messing with methods. So you write down those every day, and you put an X through the calendar. Pretty soon you have a chain of X's. It's because you've written every single day. The only one rule to this game: don't break the chain. That's the Jerry Seinfeld way of thinking. And on it, it really clicked with me. And I wrote every single day for over a year. The only thing that knocked me out of it was quarantine and doing videos every day, because suddenly I am still writing every day, but I'm not sitting with a legal pad and drafting up routines that I'll someday create for stage. I'm sitting there writing with my wife in real time. Okay, so we're going to do Wonderland dollar bill. This amazing trick that I love, but I've never gotten to do professionally because it's kind of more of a puzzle. But I'm going to do that. You're standing there. You know the trick, but we have to do this video. So we're faking this. It's fake. Like, I'm a magician. We do fake things. I believe that is not newsworthy to say. So she knows the trick. Okay. Like, I don't need to be saying more on it. That's what it is.
Sure.
So we write the routine of what we're going to do for video on that. And then we shoot it. So that's the new way of writing that I've been doing. It's not preferable because it's all up here rather than getting it out on paper. Getting it out on paper is what you really want to do, because that's where you accidentally stumble into gold, because what you have a bullet point up here of this trick or this method and a bullet point down here of a different trick, different method. But they're seeing those two together, suddenly they'll come together. So that's how you end up with a routine in my show that has Pegasus page, double cross, and I forget the name of the third one, but some word search magic trick all combined together, because you're playing with them that way. So that answer was all over the place, and I apologize, but hopefully there was something.
That's great information.
There.
Anytime you can get a little seed of information like that, an idea, and writing every day, no matter how much it is, whatever it is for you, that's always a great step.
Yeah, and I'm always the other thing I always tell magicians, my wallet is full. So check this out, magicians. This seems to be universal, certainly of professional magicians, maybe even of amateur magicians. They have a reoccurring nightmare. Okay, this is not a bit. I'm not doing a routine, for real. And maybe you'll tell me if same for you. That nightmare is you arrive at a gig or a venue or a show, the audience is already seated, and they're like, we've been waiting for an hour, and your props aren't there, and they just push you out on stage. Okay.
Yeah.
You end up on stage naked in a way, because you don't have tricks. Okay. But not actually naked in that your thumb tips out. So what I mean is that these nightmares for me, they'd happen all the time, and I found the cure. To getting rid of them. And it is carrying on you 30 minutes of material always. And that sounds really silly. Okay. And that sounds like, now, ever since I started carrying real material always, I don't have the nightmare anymore. Never
Okay.
even close, because my brain knows I will be fine. I will be fine walking on stage in front of any audience, because here in my wallet I have Rainbow, what I've done from Sayo Magic on James Corden, and then I've got Loops, Yigal Masika, and then I've
Yep.
got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different bill gimmicks here. Most of these are fraud. Some of these are a Blake Voigt gimmick, good old Blakey. One of them is a thing that I created based off of a Kalen Morelli thing. I'm not purposely not showing you. There's just nothing to really show. Well, that has something to show. Yeah, that has that.
Yeah.
That has that to show. But other than that, yeah, there's these are in my wallet at all times, and also in my wallet is and it might not be in there because of quarantine and all that, but it is that. Okay, so that is a little drug bag of tissue paper holes for healed and sealed. And on the other side, there's a
smart.
safety pin. I'm ready at all times to do healed and sealed. Okay, which this is only one step better than my buddy Blake Voigt, where he would do this at college frat houses, and he would leave healed and sealed kits underneath sinks in every frat house or sorority house that he would visit. So
Yeah.
so he would leave under the sink like 2 cans of Coke, and then he does a different method. He doesn't use tissue paper. He uses he either does the lighter method or the dry erase or whatever. But he would leave kits, and but yeah, you always want to be ready to perform magic. So
Well, that's what I always
think
liked. I
that's
think
pretty
it was
much it.
the Shimshi lecture he did on Penguin. He said that when he performs, he'd walk around the room and just stick thread all over the room. Like that is
Yeah,
brilliant.
Shimshi changed the way I perform magic. This is 2013 probably. He said this in his way of speaking. He goes, I only perform closers. Now, he wasn't being arrogant. Okay, what he was saying is, I only perform tricks that other guys choose to close their act with. So when you do that, and so that means like a lot of guys, if they're going to do fraud, well, they're going to close with it because it uses a special bill. It's you have to borrow their bill, and it's really hard to top. But you can top it if you have, Hundy 500 or something like that. That's also kind of a closer. You got to close with that. And then he also does this levitating credit card around the body, which, although it's oversaturated in Las Vegas because it's at every Houdini's Magic, it is a spectacular trick. So Shimshi just said, I'm not doing any filler. I'm only doing closers. And that kind of changed the way I think about close-up magic, and changed it for the better. Really good.
Yeah, very cool. Good piece of information there. All right, so I won't keep you much longer here. Every time I have somebody on, I always give away something of theirs.
Cool.
So I have 2 things that I'm going to give away of yours. These here are my personal ones, but I'm going to make sure whoever wins gets brand new ones. One
Incredible.
of them is a deck of your Joyrider cards.
Awesome. And there's some magic built. There's good magic built into those decks. There's a wild card.
Yep, wild card, and aces. Yeah.
There's some special things in there. What I did with that deck, the reason I did that is because I wanted duplicates in my deck. So there's duplicates, so you can do a wild card routine with it. Or if you know Garrett Thomas's stand-up Monty, go buy Garrett Thomas's stand-up Monty. And one of the gimmicks in there can help you do that routine. But really, I created it so that I could do wild card because I love that. And then there's also a thing with the queen. If you force a card, the deck of cards will reveal it. And I think that's it. Well, it comes in Pneumonica.
Right. Yeah, and I was going to point that out too as soon as you start talking about Pneumonica. So that was pretty great. When I opened it up, at first it took me a second to catch it, and I'm like, wait, has somebody opened? Oh wait, no, I get it. I get it.
I'm sure, because I sell those at shows to lay people, and I'm sure they're like, these aren't in order. And I was like,
Right.
they are.
Right. I actually got this deck when you performed in Minnesota a couple years ago. So I was
Oh,
at that
cool,
show.
man. Very cool. And what's the other one?
The other thing I'm giving away is a copy of your book.
Love it. Yes. Adventures of a
Um,
Kid Magician. So that was written by me and my dad. It's based off of true stories. Peeing on the electric fence, the very first story in the book, is not me. That's my dad.
Yeah,
I haven't peed on an electric fence, but he has.
that's
And
great.
the reason that's an exciting book, even if the person who wins it doesn't want to keep it, is kids. So the secrets to the magic tricks in the book. So it's a storybook, but each story involves one magic trick every chapter. At the end of the chapter, you get to learn that magic trick. Cool bit. But you can't just skip to the end and learn the secrets to the magic, because the passwords to the special secret videos are hidden within the story. So you
Yeah.
can't just skip to the end. So kids are flying through the book. We've been really honored by how that was received. And I'll do it quick because it's just interesting. The way we sold that book, I was doing this is why you do free magic shows. Okay. This is why you just give yourself to the client, and sometimes they don't have money and it's okay to do a free magic show. Walmart, I went to do a free magic show for Walmart. You go, what? But they're a corporate thing. They have thousands of dollars. No, I did it for free. I was there before a film festival. So Gina Davis was there, and Nick Cannon, and some other very famous old actor who's passed away since, and I can't recall his name, and me. So I was the not famous one. But did some magic, all of this. That appearance led to a Coca-Cola commercial later, because Coca-Cola was in the front row, and I decided to only do magic with Coca-Cola. But afterwards, they took me over to their book division at Walmart, and they said, got any ideas for an interesting take on a magic book? And I did, because my dad and I had written this book already, but we hadn't sold it. And so we sold it to Walmart that way. I only say that not because it's, bragging about, look at what I did. It really is more about you have to give yourself to the relationship with the client, because they're not
Yeah.
clients, they become friends. And our partners there at Walmart became friends, and we became very friendly with them. And I've gotten to work with them every year. And when they do their shareholders conference in Arkansas, and my Coca-Cola commercial came from it, and the book came from it, and even other things inadvertently, down the line came from it. But it all was because I started by doing a free show.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And I have to give you a shout out because I don't know if you recognize this or realize this, but I had reached out to you a few years ago.
Oh yeah,
saying, hey, I do magic shows for a lot of schools, and I've been purchasing a magic book every school I go to and donating a book. You were generous enough to donate 100 books.
amazing. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
that was
there are
what?
thousands,
That was like 4 years ago.
something like that. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so I mean, I paid the shipping on it. I got the books and I started giving them out, and I've revisited those schools, and I asked the kids, do you guys still have that book that I gave you? And most of them oh, some kid took it. So kids are loving the book enough to take it, which then I just give them another one. So, but
I can't remember what magician says it, but one magician says, you're not worth your weight as a magician unless you stole the magic book from the library when you were a kid.
yeah, and that's what's happening with your book.
That's something, it's a real thing. Yeah. Well, that's cool, man. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. So thank you very much for doing that. That was awesome. And you do have another book coming out, or already doing? Is that correct?
Just came out. It came out just last year. It's called Everyday Magic. It's not storybook form. It's just cool tricks for kids to do. But here's the thing: the other brothers, the Darryls, Daryl Davis and Daryl Williams, they sat down with me, and we wanted to create some new magic tricks. Not just go to Mark Wilson or Magic for Dummies and redo those. We said, what are some new ones that we can do? So the first trick in the book is a peanut butter jelly and pickle trick, which is a twist on the old mind control trick, but with ordinary objects. I absolutely love that. There's some fun new things with ashes on arm using coffee instead. Really some ways of taking classic tricks and updating them. But also there's a couple new there's some classic moves put into new routines. I'm not in the headspace now to think about it, but there was some really, really fun things that are.
But it's
new
out. It's
in that book.
available. People can find it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's out
Okay.
there.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I won't keep you anymore, Justin. Thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure, a lot of fun, and it's been
my
I always
pleasure.
love hearing stories. So thank you very much.
Thank you guys for watching, and yeah, hit me up on social media. I always love to talk magic. That's why I do things like this. It's a blast. We got the coolest job in the world.
So thank you very much. I will pop all the outlets there, and you make it easy. You don't have a cool tag or anything. It's just Justin Flom, so people can find
It's just
you.
my name.
Very easy. So awesome. Thank you very much. You have a good night. Safe travels back
See you,
to
brother.
Las Vegas, and I'll see you later.
Thank you so much. See ya.
Yep. All right. There we go, folks. Justin Flom. Make sure to give him a huge shout out and a thank you because he is an extremely generous person, very kind. His shows are amazing, and he's got some amazing material out there. So if you guys want anything, I see some people come along here with some comments. A couple of effects that he mentioned I do not have, but I can very easily get them in. You just let me know. And we're going to keep the ball rolling here. So if there's somebody else that you want to see live here on this page, definitely comment. Let me know who that is. And make sure to follow Justin. And as always, when you follow him, you follow Spellbound and you make a comment, you get a chance to win one or both of these. However I do it, I'm not sure yet, but they will be in, and I will announce the winner next Wednesday. In the meantime, thank you guys. Have a good night, and I will see you tomorrow here at Spellbound at 41st and Marion Road, Sioux Falls, at noon, from noon to 7 Central Time. See you guys.